Welcome back to another episode of A Baller with a Mic. I'm here with the one and only Lauren Croth today. So excited. Lauren, so you've done a little bit of coverage for the PWHL with Over the Line. Do you want to just speak a little bit about what Over the Line is and how you got started with them?
Yeah, for sure. So Over the Line is a student-run publication. I kind of help out with the social media, and I've also taken on a little bit of a writing role this past couple of weeks, which has been really exciting. And yeah, we're just a publication that likes to showcase students' work. So not only is it just writing-based stuff, but it's media-based stuff, so videos, creatives, graphics, things like that. And I had the lucky opportunity in order to go to a few PWHL games this year and do some media coverage, which was so cool. Yeah, we currently have one of our writers who is going to the playoff games, which is super cool. So I've kind of been helping out with the content there from aside because I'm not in the city right now. But yeah, such a cool organization that kind of helps students to get into the sport media industry.
Yeah, I love it. How did you get involved in sports media and journalism and all this?
Yeah, so I am at a journalism program at TMU. I'm going into my second year. So I've always had a passion for writing and media. When I was in high school, I actually fell in love with sport media when I took on kind of one of my own projects. I created a documentary called Beyond the Court, which was showcasing a local girls basketball team that had a 9-year journey and made it to the offset championships. So it's kind of cool talking about how teams can be beyond just a team and can kind of create a family dynamic, and also just showcasing women in sport because I feel like they're often overlooked. And that's where I kind of got my passion. So coming to school and coming to Toronto, I really just wanted to start out and really like create an outlet and create a brand and just really showcase women in sport. And it was the best opportunity because Over the Line was able to get in with the PWHL, which is huge because it was their inaugural season this year. So it was just so exciting to go in and get started. And I just truly love showcasing women in sport.
Yeah, I love it. Is that Beyond the Core documentary? Like, is anyone able to find it anywhere?
Yeah, so you can find it. I posted it on Vimeo. So I'll be able to send the links and stuff like that. But if you go to the PDCI Senior Girls Basketball Instagram account or my Lauren A. Croth Media account, I have all the links there to the Vimeo.
Awesome. So kind of just skipping to the WNBA really quickly because they're just starting their season. They just finished preseason. They're kind of getting into their regular season. A lot of things happening there. Shireen Ahmed just announced yesterday that a team's coming to Toronto finally. What are your thoughts on that?
I am thrilled. I
Yeah.
am so excited. It is like overdue that Canada gets a WNBA team. And I think they're coming in at such a crucial moment.
Yeah.
Exposure is extremely up for WNBA basketball with the new players coming in from the NCAA. And also, we're just seeing in Canada that the demand is there. We just had the preseason game in Edmonton, which was huge. It was a sold out arena. So the demand is there, and we've seen successes with the PWHL for women's professional sports in Canada. So I think the viewership is there. Toronto is such a hub for sports and basketball. We've seen the successes of the Raptors. And not only is this team gonna just be supported by the Toronto fan base, but it's gonna be like the Raptors in a way where it's like Canada's team and
Yeah.
all of the different provinces and territories are gonna come together to kind of fuel this team. So I'm so excited.
100%. And we had our Toronto preseason game last year, like 2 days from now, just a year ago. And it's crazy to see that I posted this on my Instagram last night, but it's crazy to see that a year later a team is finally coming to the city. 7 months ago, MLSE like basically said no. And so it's crazy and I'm so happy and grateful to see that someone actually did say yes and it's coming to life and people are actually bringing something so awesome to reality. Um, and it's great to see the logistics. The reporter who broke the news is actually like a prof at TMU. It's so awesome to see the great work she's doing. Um, and so yeah, the WNBA regular season starts Tuesday, I believe. Um, any predictions? You got any favorite teams or any favorite players?
Well, I am a little bit biased because I just love Canadian players. So I've been following Aaliyah Edwards, obviously.
Uh-huh.
So the Washington Mystics, I'm a fan. Might change now that we're getting a team in Toronto, but right now I'm definitely rooting for them.
Mhm.
But I'm just so excited about like the increase in viewership. I mean,
Yeah.
we just had Caitlin Clark's home debut a couple days ago, and it already broke the record for the most game viewership for the Indiana Fever compared to last year's regular season viewership.
Yeah.
So I'm just really excited to honestly see how the game grows. And I don't have too many predictions yet for in terms of like league and who's going to win. I'm honestly just excited to watch all the teams and just see how they perform. I loved the other day how we kind of see a contrast in the WNBA of lifestyle as well as sport with Angel Reese,
Yeah.
where she went to the Met Gala and then she also went and had a killer game, a killer start with the Chicago Sky. So I'm just loving to see how sports and women's sports is just meshing into many different areas within media.
Yeah, I love it too. I'm in the same boat where I don't necessarily have a favorite team. I don't think I've personally watched the WNBA long enough to kind of pick a favorite team yet. I feel like I think Toronto will just have to be my favorite team when it comes around. But for now, I'm just like loving the attention it's all getting, and everyone's kind of just enjoying the fact that the WNBA is growing so much. Even the NCAA's were crazy to watch. Um, so much viewership. The growth of that was so fun to see. Um, and yeah, I think just kind of tying that back into PWHL really quickly, you see Natalie Spooner kind of bringing her kid around, and I love to see the mix of the lifestyle part of it as well, because I feel like sometimes in the men's sports and stuff, you don't really see the other things that they're doing, which is nice to see. Um, Last question regarding the WNBA. If you could pick five players, either still in the NCAA's, in the WNBA right now, or that have already retired, who are you picking for your starting five?
Oh, Asia Wilson for sure.
Okay.
Um, I gotta pick Caitlin Clark just
Yeah.
because she's on a roll right now and she's killing it.
Mhm.
And I just love Angel Reese just because I just love the way she's just so confident. So that gets me at three. Trying to think.
It's
This
a
is
tough
hard.
pick.
There's so
Yeah.
many players I love.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just really been focusing on the newer players. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna have to throw Cameron Brink in there
Mhm.
and Camila Cardoso. I just love the newer players and I just love to see what they bring. But
Yeah.
also Asia Wilson has always been like she has my heart. I love
Yeah.
her. Also, oh,
100%.
Tia Nurse. Oh my gosh, there's too many.
There's a
I
lot.
can't choose.
You can
But
start with a sub list now. You can start with a little extra subs going, but that's a really strong list you got going. I love it. And yeah, Asia Wilson just dropped her shoe yesterday, not announced her new shoe yesterday, which is coming out in 2025, which is so fun to see. Um, and yeah, so I want to move on to the NBA really quickly. As much as women in sports in Toronto is so awesome right now, the Toronto Raptors and the Leafs kind of just pushed their way out, which is that's them. Let them do their thing. But have you been keeping up with the playoffs?
yeah, so I am a diehard Raptors fan, so
Mhm.
unfortunately it sucks that they didn't have the season that we were
Yeah,
imagining.
yeah,
But I'm actually really into the Knicks versus Pacers series right now because we had, well, unfortunately OG's out right now with an injury, but we had Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby who were current old
yeah.
teammates facing off against each other in the second round. So I've kind of been keeping track of that series there. It's really interesting. We had a Pacers win last night, which puts the Knicks, I think it's 2-1 for the Knicks right now.
Yeah,
So I've just like been keeping track of that series a little bit just because I love those players. But yeah.
yeah. I'd love to see it too. I think it was a shock that the Pacers moved on. Me personally, I had my predictions on the Bucks, but with Giannis and the Dame was out for a little bit, I think I love it to see it. I love to see Pascal and OG like face off. And then yeah, just the Pacers kind of moving on was a shock to me personally, but I love to see what's happening in the NBA right now. There's a lot happening in the West too, but I think it's just fun to keep up with. Even if your team is out, you don't really have to necessarily just completely drop the NBA. It's fun to see what the rest of the organization's doing. Um, but yeah, we're in the second round. We're getting closer to the championship. Do you have any specific predictions on who's winning the championship?
Oh, that's really tough. As much I personally would want the Pacers to win it all, but
Okay.
that's just like my personal bias. I don't know if they have the capacity in order to do that,
Mhm.
but that would be my dream to win just because I love Pascal Siakam as a player and I feel like he works so incredibly hard and he has such a good play. So
Yeah.
to see him win another one would be huge for me, but oh, I don't know. In terms of like taking it all, it's tough. I'm not too sure right now.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, if I were to choose, I'd say Pacers.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Now, really quickly, going back to PWHL, it's awesome. We're seeing like PWHL Toronto is in. I actually recently last Sunday I had the opportunity with intermission to go to their final season game before the playoffs started. It was so fun. The crowd goes wild, like literally. I love to see it so much. And the next game's on Monday night, which is fun. How are you feeling about the PWHL and them going to playoffs and everything?
Yes, so Toronto is killing the game.
Yeah.
Most like importantly, Kristen
Yeah.
Campbell is
Yeah.
like doing insanely well. Like two shutouts in the two games.
Yeah.
Like she's killing the game. They're bringing such like a I feel like such a physical game. Like Blair Turnbull, she I think had a game high of 8 hits in
Yeah.
the game the other
Yeah.
day. So I feel like Toronto's just really bringing it and they really want it. But I've been noticing some changes in Minnesota. I feel like it's just so hard. Toronto's on such a run right now. I think they've had 11 wins in a row at home.
Yeah.
So I noticed that they changed the lineup a little bit. But it's just it's really hard when you have the energy of the fans because it was two home games in a row for
Right.
PWHL Toronto.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see if Minnesota might be able to feed off the energy of the fans and have a little bit of a comeback, or I'm not too sure because Toronto, they're just on such a roll. They might sweep in three, but
Yeah.
I guess we'll just have to see.
Even with their game against Ottawa, their last regular season game, it was so interesting to see because I mean, we talked to the coach after and he was kind of just saying like they've had a great season. You see their strength, but Toronto really brings their intensity. And it was interesting to see Ottawa bring their intensity too, because they were down the first period and then they come back the second, but their intensity and their like physicality in the game was so fun to see. And you see both teams bringing it and you see them both kind of pushing. And yeah, I think you make a good point of seeing how Minnesota will react in their home city and playing at home with their fans and everything. And it's interesting to see the different lineups that they bring and things like that, and what kind of small switches they make to see what works well where. But yeah, I mean, Natalie Spooner also has hit her like record high and her career high of goals and everything, which is amazing to see. It's great to have a player like her on PWHL Toronto. I feel like it brings us more publicity in a sense and really just that extra attention that we love to see. Um, but yeah, I think it's great if we could see PWHL Toronto bring a chip. I was thinking about that this morning because I saw like a tweet or something about what would happen if like PWHL Toronto is our first team that could bring us a championship this year because all majority of other teams are either out of the playoffs or not doing too well.
Yeah, I think that would be huge. I mean, I'm a Leafs fan. My family have always been a fan of
Mhm.
the Leafs,
Yeah,
and my dad was devastated to say the least
yeah,
with their series against Boston again. It's just such a tragic loss. So I just think it's so amazing that PWHL Toronto is showing out and doing so well, just because I feel like it really shows to the city of Toronto how women's sports is present and women's sports is killing the game.
yeah.
And it kind of puts into perspective of the fact that, well, the Raptors didn't make the playoffs and Toronto's out. So now where do we want to fuel that energy and that passion and that viewership? So I think it's so important that everyone takes a chance to just watch a game. It's such an amazing, like PWHL games, the energy is so high. The vibes are always so high every single time I've gone. And if we were to bring a win to Toronto, I feel like that would be huge just because I feel like we're deserving of a win in Toronto. We've had a little bit of a tricky year in sports. So
100%, 100%. And I love the attention all the sports are getting right now, especially the women's sports coming in. It's been a crazy week overall for what's happened in the PWHL and now the NBA coming in, or the WNBA coming in. Um, what are your thoughts on Sheldon O'Keefe like being fired after their NHL season for the Leafs?
yeah, I think to be quite honest, I think it was a good choice just
Mhm.
because near the end of this season, we just didn't really know like how things were looking.
Yeah.
People are debating as like the core four, what's going to
Yeah.
happen. Just because they really weren't playing a competitive game, I feel like.
Mhm.
So I just feel like a change in coaching staff might help the Leafs a lot.
Yeah.
It's just so uncertain because I feel like for the past couple of years, every single time we make it to playoffs, we have such a strong like team, but they just can't execute at that stage.
Mhm.
So I feel like a change in leadership might help just because I feel like they need to get into a new groove of things. And
Yeah.
honestly, switching around the core four, I think if we were to see one of them leave, like for instance, Mitch Marner, I feel
Yeah.
like it might benefit the Leafs in a way, just because I feel like for the past couple of years we've been seeing the same thing happen again and again.
Yeah.
So if we can see a bit of a shift and a change, I'm hopeful that maybe one day we'll see another Leafs win, but yeah, we'll have to see.
I love the hope and like the you still have some sort of like hope and like expectation for them. I love to see it. I haven't like focused on too much of Sheldon O'Keefe's career, but I think we did see that when Dwayne Casey left the Raptors and Nick Nurse came in, and then the year after, right when he came in, we won that championship. So we might see that with the NHL and the Leafs coming up. Is there any coach you would like bring in yourself if you could?
Oh gosh,
Even
I
if they're
don't know.
coaching for like another team right now.
I don't know. I feel like it's a hard call.
Hmm.
I would love to see someone fresh and someone
Yeah,
new. I can't put my finger on a specific name,
yeah,
but I feel like they just need someone who can really push them and someone who can just kind of tell them like, look, we have all of the skills and we have all the facilities in order to be successful. So how can we put two and two together in order to actually see success? So I can't think of anyone off the top of my head right now, but I would love to see a fresh face come in and bring something new to the Leafs.
100%.
I am just so thrilled that women's sports is having a moment right now in the media. It's something I'm really passionate about and something that I'm so excited about.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly just so excited to see how it grows. One thing I've noticed in particular with the PWHL, just going back to kind of like the aspects of lifestyle and sport, is that I've been finding it so cool how players have been reaching out to audiences and almost like gaining exposure. Like we see Emma Malte and Sarah Nurse. They have a very large social media presence.
Yeah.
Sarah Nurse always does like a little get ready with me before her games for PWHL Toronto. So I feel like it's really cool in a way as it brings in lifestyle aspects and fashion aspects and makeup aspects into the sport. It kind of shows that like girls can do both. We can be fierce players on the ice, but we can also enjoy fashion and beauty and things like that. And I think it's really cool because it's just like bringing in different fan bases and like hitting all the bases. So I'm really excited to see how that looks. I'm also excited to see how that looks for the WNBA.
Mhm.
There were some killer looks at the WNBA draft. I loved Aaliyah Edwards' moment with her little crystallized basketball.
Yeah.
She ate. It was so good. But just really seeing how those things cross over in sport. And I'm curious to see if we see more of it in the men's sport. I know
Right.
Jared McCain was kind of creating a bit of noise in the men's side of the NCAA tournament. He played for Duke and he is known for painting his nails. And I know he got a sponsorship from, I believe it was Sally Hansen, which
Mhm.
is so fun and cool. So I wonder, he declared for the NBA draft, so we'll see what happens there. But I wonder if we'll see more men stepping up in their game and their fashion and expressing themselves more on the lifestyle level.
Yeah, 100%. I just saw this question, but what do you think about Bronny James like cleared for the draft, the NBA draft as well? What do you think about um his kind of camaraderie with his dad playing in the NBA, LeBron James, and what might happen with him playing for the Lakers and if they do play together?
So I honestly was really shocked when he decided to declare.
Yeah,
Just because I feel like he is still learning and needs to progress in the NCAA level.
yeah,
Um, there is a lot of bias there I could see. I know LeBron always said that he wanted to play with his son in the NBA before retiring. And I mean, he's had an insane career and he is kind of nearing the end of it. So I could see them potentially trying to maybe rush it a little bit so they can have that moment together. I feel like it would be huge news if they were playing together on the same team, especially with the Lakers. But I just don't know if Bronny is ready for the NBA stage. I mean, I feel like personally, I would be interested to see him progress. He entered the transfer portal at the NCAA level as well, right?
yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah, so I'll be curious to see as if maybe he doesn't get drafted at all and just decides to start new at a new spot. But yeah, I'd be really curious. But I don't personally think he's ready for that level yet, but it would be a cool moment to see that.
I completely agree. Like I think seeing where he's at right now and the way he just plays, I feel like getting in the NBA and the level of skill and like endurance you need to be at to be able to play with those high level players. Like I can't see Bronny James matching up with Giannis and then trying to win a game. Like it's just not going to work. And you see that with like Giannis and his little brother. They play on the same team, but it's like they don't get even close to the same playing minutes, and their skill level is not necessarily the same like range and things. So it's just interesting to see how that father son dynamic would work. Um, but yeah, I'm in the same boat. I completely agree. Thank you so much for coming, Lauren. It was awesome. I might even come back to have you on closer to the end of the WNBA season, see what happens with the PWL playoffs. But yeah, thank you so much. It was awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Thank you so much for having
Awesome.
me on. This was so fun.